You're 34. You have $112,000. Cody started the same week you did, same apprenticeship, same license, same raises, almost to the dollar. Cody is 34 years old and $34,000 in debt. The difference isn't your paycheck. You two earned nearly the exact same money for 10 years. The difference is one decision you made at 24 and the 10 years of getting laughed at for it before it quietly paid off. This is your life, driving the same cheap car for 10 years while everyone around you upgraded. You're 24, first year out of your apprenticeship. Columbus in November. Gray sky, wet job sites, the kind of cold that gets into your hands right through the gloves. You've got $11,000 in student loans from trade school, a one-bedroom you can just barely afford, and a hand-me-down Pontiac that just failed inspection for the second time. The guy at the shop wipes his hands and he says the repair's gonna run $1,100. Then he pauses. He says, so you end up on a used lot that Saturday. There's a lifted truck up front with a bow on it, gleaming, and there's a 2012 Toyota Corolla in the back row. Silver, cloth seats, 71,000 miles, one scratch on the bumper the last owner called cosmetic. You sit in the truck first. Of course you do. It smells new. It sits high. You can feel how you'd look in it, pulling onto a job site. Then you look at the sticker. $41,680 a month for 6 years. You buy the Corolla, $8,200, cash. The money you'd scraped together instead of financing anything. That night you do something you can't fully explain. You take a piece of paper and you write down the difference, what that $680 a month becomes if you invest it instead of financing a truck. 10 years, 7%. You write down the number that comes out the other end. You look at it, you fold it, you put it in the glove box behind the manual, and you don't think about it again for months. You're 25. The shop parking lot. 6:15 in the morning. Cody rolls in. New truck, lifted, blacked out, still got the temp tag in the window. He walks past your Corolla, looks at it, looks at you. Bro, you still in the little silver thing? You say, it starts every morning. Cody laughs, hits the fob twice, walks off. You gotta treat yourself, man, that's all I'm saying. You check the glove box that night. 8,000. You're 27. Supply house counter, Ray's picking up wire, 60 years old, master's license, been doing this since before you were born. He sees you park. He nods at the Corolla. How long you had that? 3 years? And he says, my wife drove one car for 14 years. Bought it the year our first kid was born. When she finally let it go, we paid cash for the house. He loads his wire, and before he leaves, he says, the truck's never the point, kid. The question is what you're building, while everybody else is financing how they look. You drive home thinking about that. You check the glove box, 26,000. You're 29, a job site cookout. Cody's got a boat now and a second truck for towing it. He tells the whole crew about the deal he got, the way people talk when they need the deal to sound like a win. Later, he catches you by the coolers. Seriously though, you make what I make. Why you still driving that thing? You say, I'm good. He says, you're not good. You're 29, driving a 2012. You go home. You don't say anything. You check the glove box. 46,000. You're 31, grocery store parking lot. A woman at the next car, nice SUV, clearly not hurting for money. She nods at your Corolla. That a 12? Yeah. How many miles? About 140,000. She says, my daughter's got one. 200,000 on it. Won't quit. She gets in her expensive car and she says, without any weight to it at all, smart car to keep. And she drives off. It's the first kind thing anyone's said about your car in 7 years. You sit there a second. You check the glove box. 70,000. Here's the part nobody tells you. The part that's actually hard. None of this felt like winning. For 7 years, you didn't have $100,000. You had a scratched bumper, a truck-shaped hole in your driveway, and a coworker who made you feel small at 6 in the morning. The number in the glove box was real, but it was invisible. Nobody could see it. You could barely see it. That winter, you're on a job with Ray, running wire inside a wall that's about to get closed up, and he says it without even looking up. You know what the hard part of this trade is? It's not the work, it's that the best stuff you do disappears. You run it clean, you run it right, and then they drywall over it, and nobody ever sees it again. You gotta be okay building something nobody's ever gonna clap for. He taps the wall. Money's the same. The years it's growing are the years nobody can see it. That's why most people can't do it. Not because it's hard, because it's quiet. You stand there in the half-built room, still inside the wall, and something settles. You're not happy, exactly. You're not unhappy. You're oriented. You know which direction you're going, and it hasn't changed in 7 years. The car is still the car. You're 32. Cody starts asking different questions, quieter ones. How much you got in your 401k? Honestly. He's not bragging anymore. He's doing math he doesn't want to do. You check the glove box that night, $83,000. You're 34, a Tuesday. Cody calls. Not to mock. He says, "Can I ask you something real?" "Yeah," he says. "I'm 34 grand in the hole. The truck, the boat, the cards. We make the same money. How are you not in this?" You say, "We don't spend the same money." He's quiet. Then, "You gonna lecture me?" You say, "No. I need to ask you something." "Okay. How'd you actually do it?" And here's the thing. You don't feel superior. You thought you would. After 10 years of the parking lot and the cookouts and the you gotta treat yourself. But you don't. You feel a little tired. And honestly, a little sad. For all the years he spent buying the picture of a good life instead of building one. You think about Ray at the wall. You think about the truck with the bow on it you didn't buy. You open the glove box and you look at the folded paper, soft now from 10 years of being opened. The number is $112,000. And you don't check it the way you used to, bracing, hoping it's real. You just look at it, the way you look at something that stopped surprising you and started simply being true. Cody's still on the phone. "So how'd you do it?" You say, "I decided the car was never the point." "Then what was?" You say, the question underneath it. He doesn't get it yet. He will. For 10 years, everyone who looked at that car did the same math. They saw a 2012 Corolla, and they decided who you were. A guy who couldn't afford better. A guy playing it too safe. A guy who never treated himself. They were all answering the wrong question. The question was never, what should you drive? The question was, who are you when nobody's impressed? For 10 years, you answered it the same way, quietly. In a car nobody clapped for. Building something inside a wall. Maybe you're in the Corolla right now. Maybe you're Cody, figuring out how to dig out. Maybe you're 24, standing on a used lot with a truck on one side and a boring silver car on the other, and a number you haven't written down yet. Either way, the question's already there. It's been there the whole time. Whether you answer it honestly is the only decision that actually matters. The car is still the car, and the account is still yours. If this hits something, this whole channel is stories like it. Money told straight. No hype. I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe.